Welcome back, you guys. This is Tom. I am the founder, head coach of NeuroArkitect. The whole purpose of this channel, guys, is to really truly guide and mentor and provide the support, provide the knowledge and the wisdom that's going to help you heal, help you really thrive and optimize every single area of your life, physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. And today, I want to, I want to get a little open and vulnerable with you guys because I think this is something that is just so core to what it means to be human. And truly, honestly, the whole underlying idea behind this video is that it's in your pain that you find freedom. It's in your pain that you are able to discover the things about yourself that you need to work on, to heal, to look at, to recognize, to bring awareness to, in order to then walk life free. And when I say walk life freely, 95% of what we do, day in and day out, is driven by these subconscious programs that we have accumulated over the course of our entire lifetime, but more specifically during those first 7 years of our lives, when we are in just this primary theta state, brainwave state, where we are downloading information into our subconscious, essentially just, again, creating the programs that we then need to be able to function and operate in life with. And of course, if those things that we are experiencing, hearing, and consuming, and the things that we personally go through, especially those moments that are so emotionally charged, and that could be anywhere on the spectrum of emotion, but the ones that are particularly intense, that could be both joyful but also deeply painful and traumatic, those weave into our subconscious and into our nervous system, into our bodies, certain patterns, certain behaviors, certain immediate automatic reactions and responses. And we can also become so blind to those because they simply become our way of being and perceiving the world, reality, people, situations. And so what I'm going to present here is a little bit about myself, so you have context for how I'm operating and working with this, but then also really offering you something to work with. And I'm going to start by saying, pay attention to the patterns that are repeating throughout your life. Pay attention to the pain that is repeating itself throughout your life. Because when you can start to notice that there is a pattern, there must clearly be some sort of fundamental underlying belief or way of being or program that draws that into your life, somehow attracts that into your life. Now, of course, for myself, speaking for myself, from the moment I was born, I was literally just this walk-in bundle of, I am not worthy to be here. I am not deserving of any kind of love or validation whatsoever. I have carried that my entire life. And that, over the period of my life, that grew into an insane perfectionism, right? Again, craving the need to be and present myself a certain way with the grades I was getting, with the achievements I was receiving in sports and athletics, in the way that I would try very hard to make myself look a certain way to be worthy of that. Because at my core, I didn't feel it, I didn't believe it. And that, of course, came from, some early childhood abandonment wounds. And that wasn't necessarily in the sense that I was left behind, like truly abandoned. But these micro instances that I can point to throughout my life that imbued me with that. And it was both with family and with friend groups and with so many different individual situations. Even at the age of 2, when my parents left me temporarily with my grandmother so they could leave Poland, come here to the States and settle themselves in, and then come back and bring me over. A 2-year-old doesn't have context for that. They don't have an awareness of what's going on and why. All they see and all they experience is waking up one day and suddenly the 2 people that loved them the most, that they loved the most, are gone. And so, of course, it can trigger and, of course, initiate that fear of abandonment. But then, of course, it can also create this pattern of then drawing more of the situations in, because now if I'm feeling unworthy and I'm overcompensating with these different ways that I'm trying to earn that validation, right? And I'm acting from this place, of course, later on, this manifested in several relationships that I had as also jealousy and envy. And that would also turn into anger, but that anger at its core was really rooted in fear of being left, fear of being abandoned. And I've carried these core beliefs and core wounds, and they created this programming as a result of that. And it's really only over the past few years that I have personally really sat with and tried to understand why I would keep attracting, certain situations and certain friend groups and certain environments and situations with work and partners, and just romantically in my relationships, where I was noticing very common themes and really having to sit with and understand that and peel those layers back. So now this is what I'm offering to you. Pay attention to the patterns in your life, to those repetitive, emotions and experiences that seem to just continually pop up. Because when you start to be able to pay attention to that and really work with it, and working with it can mean so many different things. Sometimes it really is just a matter of like maybe having a dialogue with yourself and writing and journaling, or other times, and for me this is a very valuable and useful practice, just being able to really truly sit with honestly with myself in silence for extended periods of time, and just feel and process and work through what comes up, and question it, and see what are the deeper sort of underlying beliefs and programs that are there, because you can get to the root of it, you know and then you slowly start to heal those things, and you start to develop a different perception of it, and sometimes you can even do very deep work where you can actually almost just kind of go in and reconfigure that event in your life, experience it differently, experience it from a different vantage point, and suddenly it changes sort of the emotional charge behind it. That's just, just entering this deep meditative state where you can do that. Sometimes it's just a matter of really being able to voice it, articulate it, and express it to someone. But pay attention to the patterns in your life. Pay attention to those repetitive things you're going through and experiencing, and those repetitive emotions that seem to surface all the time. Because so often, there's this reality that we're projecting onto. And we project onto it, we experience it a certain way, but then in experiencing it a certain way, we compensate in various different ways. And in the way that we compensate, we also indirectly create the conditions that then reinforce the beliefs. So if I was, let's say, a very, fearful and jealous boyfriend, back in high school and early college, and that would manifest as jealousy and anger and this almost need for control that was stemming from that place. What would then happen is actually push those people away from me, and thereby reinforcing that belief of, you are going to be abandoned, you aren't good enough, even if you do everything right, quote unquote, you're not good enough. And so really truly sitting with that, recognizing it, and working with that, like that's where your freedom is. Because if you can truly get to the core of it honestly and transparently, and really shine the light of your awareness on it, well, then you have the potential and the opportunity to rewrite that, and to start to create a new paradigm and a new way of being and operating and perceiving, and create a new projection onto reality. So that's the practice, guys. That's what I want to encourage you guys to do. Just start paying attention to the patterns, sit with it, even just script it, write it out. Notice over the course of your life the different events, and then see what are the underlying themes, what are the underlying fears, what are the underlying emotions, what are the common denominators in all of that. That's where the work begins. So I leave you with that, and I want to wish you guys an incredible start to your week. Much love. Peace.